had the great privilege of being married to Josh Darden, for whom tonight's honors are named. Betty Darden, we are always very happy when you're able to be with us. We are thrilled to have nearly every single individual and corporate Darden Award honoree with us tonight. Isn't that amazing? And I hope that you will stand as you're able. Bob Aston, Harry Lester, Jackie Zell, Debbie DeCroce, Vince and Suzanne Mastracco, Debbie Wynn, Jane Batten, Joan Brock, John Lawson, and George Birdsong. Thank you all for being here tonight. Our past corporate honorees are out in force tonight as well. Newport News Shipbuilding, and I'm glad they were able to make it across the bridge tunnel because I think some folks got hung up in traffic there tonight. Represented by Civic Board Member Chavis Harris. Landmark Enterprises, represented by Frank Batten Jr., Dollar Tree, represented by Gary Philbin, and Town Bank, which is also the title sponsor of tonight's event, represented by Bob Aston. Thank you for being with us tonight. As you may know, it is the past Darden honorees and other key leaders who choose our recipients every year. And so, in addition to our Darden honorees, we are so glad to have Gil Bland and Gil Minor with us tonight. Thank you for being here. We are so pleased to welcome Civic alum, Senator Mamie Locke. I don't want to say anything, but she did get elected to the state Senate during her Civic year. I don't know if there's a connection there. I'm just putting it out there. Drew Lumpkin is also with us tonight representing Senator Mark Warner, and we are so pleased as well to welcome Newport News Mayor McKinley Price. Thank you for being with us. Norfolk City Council member and Civic alum Mamie Johnson is with us, as is Brian Stevens, who's the president of the Hampton Roads Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for joining us as well. And we're also so delighted to have with us tonight Virginia Wesleyan University President Scott Miller, EVMS President and Provost Dr. Richard Homan, and Eastern Shore Community College Interim President Billy Greer. Would you please join me in thanking them? Leading our efforts this year are two of the region's finest leaders. Would you please join me in welcoming Vita Vale from the class of 1999 and this year's Civic Chair, and Kay Kemper, our Civic Executive Director Emeritus and this year's Vice Chair.
Thank you. We're so happy you're here tonight to honor an extraordinary Hampton Roads native, Harvey Lindsay, for all that he has done for the Hampton Roads region.
And we're thrilled to be able to honor Ferguson for leading the way in philanthropy and volunteerism here in Hampton Roads.
The Darden Awards simply aren't possible without extraordinary sponsorship support, and the printed program you received tonight contains the names of all who have supported our efforts this evening. I'll ask you to hold your applause until we've noted the contributions of a few key people. We're so grateful to our audio-visual team who helped make the event run seamlessly. Please join me in thanking Productive AV. The honoree video you're about to see was created by the skilled production team at WHRO, led by Jeff Fine. We're especially grateful to videographer Brandon Nance, who brought his sharp eye to the project, and to Amasa Smith of Civic for her production assistance. The delicious food and beverages tonight were provided by Omar's Carriage House.
For the 5th year in a row, we are proud to have Inside Business as our media partner. If you have enjoyed this year's edition of the glossy insert featuring our honorees, it is all thanks to the hard work of the Inside Business team.
Many thanks to our title sponsor, Town Bank.
Many thanks to our community sponsor, Dollar Tree.
Many thanks also to our visionary sponsor, Harvey Lindsay Commercial Real Estate.
Many thanks to our icon sponsors, Charlotte and Gil Minor, Old Dominion University, and Palladium.
Thanks as well to our table sponsors, Access College Foundation, Birds on Peanuts, Children's Hospital of the King's Daughters, City of Norfolk,
EVMS, Hampton Roads Community Foundation, Kaufman and Knowles, KPMG, and London and Norfolk Limited.
also Newport News Shipbuilding, Old Point National Bank, Optima, PNC, the Franklin Johnson Group.
Union Mission, Wells Fargo, Wilbank Smith and Thomas, Williams Mullen, and W.M. Jordan.
You'll find a full list of all of our generous sponsors in your program. Join me in thanking them.
We are so grateful to our title sponsor, Town Bank, and I'm delighted to welcome Executive Chairman of the Town Bank Board, Robert Aston Jr.
Good evening, everybody. Let me just say tonight, before I start, that we're very fortunate to be here and to have the opportunity to honor Harvey Lindsay. Harvey is one of the finest men that I've known in my lifetime, and it gives me a special privilege to be here tonight to honor you, Harvey, and to say that. Also, perhaps one of our greatest corporate citizens, Ferguson. So on behalf of our Town Bank family and our 2,700 family members, it is a privilege to be here tonight and to represent our company as we honor these great institutions here in Hampton Roads. I couldn't help but think back to about 20 years ago, 1998. We were sitting around in my garage at home as a group of unemployed bankers, and that was a lot of fun being unemployed. Being in the garage was great. We mailed out actually didn't mail out, we sent Virginia Pilot out with a letter in there from Scott Morgan and myself talking about this new bank we wanted to start for our community. And Virginia Pilot delivered as usual, because after we sent that letter out, 4,000 folks here in Hampton Roads, including many of you that are here this evening, mailed $50 million to a garage over in Portsmouth that launched this company today. So thank you, Frank, for the great work of the pilot in making that possible. But you know, we sat around the garage for about, I guess, 3 or 4 weeks, not doing what you might call a typical business plan. It was thinking about what we wanted this company to be. And we finally zeroed in on the fact that what we really wanted to do was to build a great community asset for Hampton Roads. And so when we looked at that, it wasn't really about the dollars, it was about what we could do with the dollars, and banking just happened to be the thing we chose to try to build this community asset. And as we talked about that, one of the role models that came up in my mind was Ferguson. David Peoples, who happens to be a shareholder in our company and been a friend for a long time. Charlie Banks, who obviously was a great CEO for Ferguson. Those men in that company stood for the things we thought we wanted this bank to stand for. So tonight is a special privilege to be here to honor Ferguson and to thank them for all the great things they've done in their community and our community, and to thank them for being our role model, if you will, for how we wanted to build a company here for Hampton Roads. So if you would now, if you will join me and to the screen and watch this video.
To me, Ferguson Cares is kind of taking the first step individually to wanting to promote positive change, to want to make a difference within the community. The feeling that you get after you've completed a task like that, or when you've wrapped up for the day, it's reassurance that I'm doing something positive here, and it's not just to say, hey, I did this, but it's actually to benefit someone else. I really can't explain how that makes us feel as employees, to be able to stand side by side, hand in hand with our bosses. Anytime that we ever get the call and they need that assistance, you can believe I'll be right there beside these guys.
For me, with Ferguson having the ability to send people out into the field and help out, about, rather than just stroking a check for a monetary value. It speaks volumes of the type of people we have working for us.
Making sure that we give back, we help to rebuild, that we're first on the scene. The caring that's associated with that community involvement is something that our associates take extremely seriously, and it's something that makes us proud as an organization.
There's so many people that just come together and want to help. Hundreds of people just come out. What can I do? How can I volunteer? For some reason, it's in our DNA. We're going to step up, we're going to help. Doesn't matter if we know you, just it's who we are.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Kevin Murphy, the CEO of Ferguson, to receive our award tonight. Congratulations on behalf of our whole community, and thank you for everything you and your company do each day to make this area special. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bob. And interestingly enough, Charlie Banks and a group of us will be Friday night together to celebrate Mr. David Peeble's 90th birthday. So it will be fantastic. Looking very forward to it. Well, good evening. Thank you for the warm welcome. I'm honored to be here tonight to accept this award on behalf of Ferguson and, more importantly, our 27,000 associates across the country. And while this is our home, I'd be remiss if I didn't take some time to acknowledge those that are in California, impacted by the most devastating wildfires in our history, including our more than 100 associates who have been directly impacted by those fires. Giving back to the community, as mentioned in the video, is not just something we do at Ferguson. Giving back is at the very core of our culture. It's ingrained in the fabric of our company. For more than 65 years, our company has remained committed to strengthening the communities that we live in, that we work in, especially here in our hometown of Hampton Roads. I'd like to extend a special thank you to the Civic Leadership Institute. We're grateful to Kathy and Sarah Jane and the staff at Civic for its unwavering commitment to improve the quality of life on Hampton Roads. Thank you to Mr. Aston and Town Bank for bringing us all together tonight to celebrate our community. I think I speak for most people in the room when I say that Town Bank has certainly made an indelible mark on Hampton Roads. I'd also like to thank the entire Darden Awards committee. There are many great companies in our region doing a lot of innovative and meaningful work. I'm sure this decision was not an easy one. Ferguson is committed to making a meaningful difference through purposeful partnerships with nonprofit organizations and with businesses. But this award is much more than just about the donations and the volunteer time. It's a testament to our extremely passionate associates. Time and time again, our associates prove why they are the true meaning of Ferguson Cares that you saw in the video. They continually invest their talents and energy into helping food banks and homeless shelters, building homes for our veterans, or alongside Habitat for Humanity. They give blood, support disaster relief, and advocate for many causes that are near and dear to their hearts. Our associates are the most valuable asset and truly make our company a special place to work. At Ferguson, we all want to create a future that everyone is proud of. Purpose-driven and never done. We push each other to be our best selves and the best company for our associates, our partners, and our customers. Because while the world is changing, what we stand for will not. We're all here tonight because we're committed to making Hampton Roads a vibrant place to live and to work. A community that is healthy, safe, and prosperous. We work towards this goal every single day. Through business and community partnerships, we're moving the needle. Your efforts, no matter how big or how small, really matter. Your efforts make a difference, and sometimes it's just to one person, one family, or an entire community. Tonight, we celebrate the achievements of many great companies, many great individuals, We celebrate your ongoing commitment to serve our community with whatever talents you have to give. Let us not forget, there is plenty of work still left to be done. And I can assure you that Ferguson and all of our associates will be in the trenches with you, making Hampton Roads a better place to live and to work. I have one more thank you. Melissa Hazelwood with our company does an incredible job of representing our organization and making sure that we stay focused on what is the good work that we do inside of Hampton Roads. Thank you very much for your support of our company and for your support of our community. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think those were just lovely, wonderful remarks that really represent the spirit of our evening. Well, Old Dominion University President John Broderick had planned to join us tonight, but I'm sure you're aware this is a big week at the university with the opening of the Barry Art Museum on Hampton Boulevard. You've probably seen that taking shape over the past year or so, and it houses this spectacular art collection of Richard and Carolyn Barry. It's the largest gift in the history of the university. And after last night's event, the president developed a little bit of a back strain, and so since he has miles to go this week to celebrate that opening, we gave him, a university professor, an excused absence from tonight's event, so he was appreciative of that. But he did want me to be sure to let you know that the Barry Art Museum opened today, and it is free and open to the public anytime you want to stop by to take a look at some incredible art. At the heart of great leadership is great collaboration, and CIVIC has had such a happy collaboration with Old Dominion University. The university saw an opportunity about 6 years ago to create an innovative approach to education and research that spurs economic development and retains some of our most talented graduates right here in Hampton Roads. And the result is a program that helps these high-performing students make connections and hone their leadership skills and create community both within the program and outside of it. Our CIVIC Scholars have been a key part of tonight's event. They greeted you when you arrived. They made sure you got your name tag, and do not be surprised if they offer you a business card before the evening is over. We have given each of our students a set of individualized CIVIC Scholar greeting cards so they can get a business card, so they can get a head start on their networking process. And they are lined up here stage right, and would you join me in recognizing them? CIVIC Scholar graduates are starting their careers and deploying their immense talent right here in Hampton Roads. This year, CIVIC Scholars are being integrated into projects undertaken by the executive class of 2019, and those projects come straight out of identified initiatives with the greatest potential to move the region forward. Last year, some of our scholars worked with civic executives to analyze zoning requirements in the region, and that research aligns directly with ODU's work growing its global reputation for sea level rise research. ODU students will also get an opportunity to work on Go Virginia. This is the initiative that's aimed at spurring economic development through local partnerships. In fact, ODU was awarded $3 million from Go Virginia for a Hampton Roads Cyber Collaboration Lab and the Virginia Digital Shipbuilding Workforce Program. Now, the chair of Go Virginia is Debbie Wynn, who describes this program as a once-in-a-generation opportunity to reset the state's economy. He's been working closely with regional leaders in Hampton Roads and Richmond to identify projects that the two metro areas can work on together, elevating the profile of the entire region from Richmond to the Eastern Shore. Debbie is the retired president and CEO of Landmark Communications, and he is also former chair of the Hampton Roads Community Foundation. With more on tonight's individual Darden Honoree, it's a great pleasure to welcome Debbie Wynn.
Well, good evening. Kevin, congratulations. Ferguson's one of the wonderful companies. And Kevin, if you don't know, is 50 years old, and he's CEO of a dynamic company like that. So watch this space. I'm sure great things will happen. It's my great honor tonight to offer some introductory remarks about Harvey Lindsay, a man I've known for over 60 years. Harvey is one of the truly iconic figures in Hampton Roads. I was fortunate to have a close personal relationship with Frank Batten Sr. and Josh Darden, and saw firsthand, through their examples, the impact they had on people and community. Harvey's efforts have been similarly impactful. It might not surprise you to know that the three of them were great friends and even related. There have been many great leaders in Hampton Roads, but few would equal these three. In a few minutes, you'll see an excellent video that captures many of Harvey's contributions. So I want briefly to summarize a few of Harvey's philosophies that could serve each of us as good advice, even guideposts. Many of these have been offered to me by you, his friends. So when you think of Harvey, what comes to mind? Do the right thing. Never compromise your values, integrity, or principles, even in the face of significant risk. Stay true to your moral and ethical compass. The man who can't say no. Everyone has commitments that are hard to balance, but always stretch and look for ways to help others in big and small ways. Harvey rarely says no. Lead, don't dominate. Facilitate and be inclusive. Listen to learn. Be willing to change your mind. Leading humbly from behind the curtain can be very effective. Nurture and mentor others. Seek to bring out the best in people. No one can do it alone. Develop others. Faith and family come ahead of everything. One can only wonder how one person, Harvey Lindsay, could do so much and yet hold fast to this belief throughout his entire life. You can be successful at business and do good. Certainly Harvey's visionary business leadership resulted in much good to our community, and he often pursued projects that had little financial benefit, but which were important to the community. Stay positive, encouraging, and optimistic. If you know Harvey, that's Consummate Harvey. That's just who he is. Don't be a big shot. It's a mistake to take oneself too seriously. No one's that good. Humility and empathy, a genuine concern for the well-being of others, all others, is the essence of a life well lived. There's so much more that could be said, but you get the message. Harvey Lindsays do not come along very often. A final comment. When Harvey and I chatted about this introduction, and knowing how uncomfortable he is in drawing attention to himself, we discussed whether we could deliver a message that might have some overriding meaning to the community at large. We decided there was, and here it is. And I'm confident that Frank Batten Sr. and Josh Darden would completely agree. CIVIC and many other leadership initiatives are making a real difference in our community. And these efforts are only getting better and better. But we need the next generation of senior leaders to assume more responsibility for the future of our community and for our most significant initiatives. And we need this sooner rather than later. We need those of us who have been leading for too long to become sponsors, mentors, and advocates. This will not occur serendipitously. We need to purposefully pursue a more formalized transition to succession leadership. Our community has such amazing potential and wonderful people. We need to find even better ways to empower and release the energy of the next generation, many of whom are here tonight. Harvey would say the future of Hampton Roads depends on it. The best way we can honor Harvey is to be inspired by his example and emulate his wonderful efforts. Thank you, Harvey. Now let's see the video.
Harvey Lindsay's life, is a story of family and faith, of the quiet pursuit of justice, of enduring patience and optimism. Born into a family of public service, Harvey Lindsay is a cousin to Josh Darden, a nephew to Governor Colgate Darden, and like many of his generation, was shaped by the Second World War, when Norfolk found its footing as the epicenter of America's naval response. As the region ramped up for war, Harvey Lindsay Sr. was staking a claim at the ocean front. Among his most successful ventures, the surf club that lured locals to a beachfront that had little else to offer but the Cavalier Hotel. Some still talk about one memorable July 4th in 1941. Glenn Miller was headlining at the surf club, while Tommy Dorsey and Frank Sinatra were on stage at the Cavalier. After the war, Harvey went to the University of Virginia, under the watchful eye of its president and Harvey's uncle, Colgate Darden.
He'd call home and he'd say, "Catherine," that's my mother, she'd say, "Catherine, that boy, he's not studying up here. All he's doing is playing around. He's joined a fraternity up there, and he's, and I said, "Oh my gosh, don't call my mother anymore. She's gonna get me in real trouble."
Harvey loved Cavalier sports, especially lacrosse. In fact, he made the 1951 All-American Honorable Mention list. Not bad for someone who'd never even picked up a lacrosse stick just 2 years before. Harvey shipped off to Korea after college, part of a contingent of Marines vastly outnumbered by thousands of Chinese troops on the other side of the hill. And it was a conversation with an African-American corpsman on that cold, dangerous hillside that would shape his destiny.
One night we were out there on the hill talking, and he said, "You know, Lieutenant," he said, "we're all equal over here. There's no difference with the color of our skin, whether we're white or black or whatever. It's no difference. We're all equal." But he said to me, "You know, when we go back to the States, it's not going to be like that." And I said, "No, I'll tell you." I said, you might be right, but I'm going to try to do my share to help change that."
When he returned from Korea, Harvey joined his father's real estate business with an eye to growing it. But he hadn't been home long when he got word about the death of his best friend, a Navy pilot who took off from the USS Midway and never returned. Harvey had been Bob King's best man, so it was only natural that he'd look after his widow, Frances. She had one toddler and was 6 months pregnant with her second son when word arrived of her husband's death. The tables turned when Harvey was injured in a touch football game and Frances looked after him. It wasn't long before they were married.
She loved our children and our grandchildren, and we had 2 great-grandchildren. She just loved our family so very much. I miss her very, very much, but we had 62 great years of marriage together, so I, can thank the Lord for that.
Harvey hadn't forgotten the conversation in the Korean foxhole, and he knew the corpsman was right, that equality on the battlefield hadn't made it home. In the late 50s, the Supreme Court ordered the integration of public schools, but Virginia resisted, and Norfolk schools closed their doors for a whole year in protest.
I wake up one morning, they've closed all the public schools in Norfolk. I said, can't believe this. This has happened to this city. I mean, we're too great a city to have this happen to us. That was a very, very difficult time. And I came down on the side of reopening the schools, and there were a lot of people, some of my friends who said I was on the wrong side of that, but I felt real strongly about it. I received some letters and notes and things that to lay off and get out of that, don't get involved. But I just felt very strongly about it.
That's when Harvey accepted an invitation to join the new Citizens Advisory Committee, the precursor to the Urban League of Hampton Roads. While Harvey deepened his civic commitments, Harvey Lindsay Real Estate was spreading its wings west to Newport News.
I think his vision for this area was just to have something unique, a place where the whole region would benefit from this. And as you can see, various companies from around the world and the country have decided to come stay and grow here. City Center has become just a dream come true for us. This is the place to be. This is going to be the center of growth for the city.
As his business success grew, the conversation with the Cormans stayed with him. And that's when he met a preacher named Courtney McBath.
When I met Harvey, I was a 30-year-old kid just starting a church in a city that I knew nothing about. He was a mover and a shaker in that city. There was absolutely nothing about me that should have been impressive to him. I think he liked the fact that I went to MIT, but beyond that, I just had a little storefront church and I was just getting going. But for some reason, he loved me and he thought highly of me and he spoke highly of me, and it's like I never had to really earn that. It's almost like he gave me that. We were so nomadic as a church. We had moved 4 times in 11 months, and we ended up purchasing property on Little Creek Road to build the new church. There were proponents in the city, I don't think a majority, but a very vocal proponent in the city that violently opposed us building a 3,000-seat church on Little Creek Road. And at that point, Harvey stepped up and questioned the intent of those who opposed me. He was kind and gentle, but very specific, very, very intellectual and articulate in how he addressed their emotional issues. And so he asked all the right questions. Why would we oppose a church that meets all of our zoning regulations building there? What would be our reasons? He didn't call them racist. He just removed all the other possible options, so that was the only one left. So he did that in an editorial to the paper, but he also came to my side as well and let me know that whatever you need, we're here to help you. And if we don't get that, which was usually the way he approached it, it was a we. If we don't get that, Courtney, we will find something and we will get you in it. And he meant that.
Opponents of Calvary Revival threatened to force a citywide referendum, but the church decided it would look for another property instead.
This piece of property here on Poplar Hall Drive was $2 million out of our price range. It was way out. Harvey came back to them and they changed the price. And the price went from $3 million to about $1 million. And so we walked into this building, we bought it, and we had the money to restore it and do all the stuff that we had to do, and it all worked out. And Harvey was right. He said, if it doesn't work there, it'll work somewhere else, because we're gonna make sure that you got a church. And here's the funny thing about Harvey, we'll never know, because he's never gonna take credit for it. Even if he made the call, he ain't gonna tell anybody.
None of his friends believed that he would get back up from the dead. You know what that tells me? None of your friends may believe in who you can become, but it doesn't matter.
Today, Bishop Courtney McBath preaches to 3,500 each Sunday, and Calvary Revival's online ministry extends to millions around the world.
I have a feeling that there was a little bit of Harveyism that kind of helped the Lord to push it in our direction.
A little bit of Harveyism was instrumental for the Union Mission as well. The shelter for the poor and homeless had spent 50 years in downtown Norfolk, but with the revitalization of downtown and the mission's growth, it was time to find a new location. That was the foundation of a lifetime friendship between Harvey Lindsay and Reverend Ted Bashford.
They both were visionaries and both had grand plans for the city and for the Union mission. And I remember those meetings, Harvey Lindsay would come in and just encourage Ted and say, it's going to be all right. We're going to help the mission move. If you really want to know the person, the true person, sit with someone when things aren't going well. And we certainly saw that when deals fell through on our former site, and he just remained very positive, was not distracted from the original goal. And one thing I appreciate about Harvey and anyone like him is helping people who cannot in any way reciprocate. This would not come back to Mr. Lindsay in any kind of personal way, and yet he saw that some of the most vulnerable in our community needed his help.
Along the way, Harvey's cousin, Josh Darden, asked him to join the board of the Access College Foundation that's made it possible for more than 60,000 Hampton Roads students to attend college. Harvey served at a critical time when the organization was making decisions about expanding to all Southampton Roads schools.
80% of our students are from families where no one has gone to college, and I think that that's the part of him which is just that equity, wanting fairness for all, and that really attracted him to us in the first place.
It's amazing the growth of this foundation, that what they've done, it's just tremendous. And to give these youngsters an opportunity to go to college, get an education, it's just beyond anything I ever thought could happen. I knew it would be great with Josh and Frank Batten starting it, but it's amazing the growth of it, and it's been great for our city, great for the Hampton Roads region, and I'm very proud of what they've done.
Whenever I see Harvey at any kind of an event or just out on the street or wherever or in his office and we have a conversation, I go back to the office smiling and thinking, what a precious encounter. The way he treats people, the way that everyone is the same, everyone is Harvey's best friend and gets that same fabulous, presidential treatment. Harvey is just, on top of being loyal and honest and fair and having integrity and just all those wonderful things, he's just precious.
For his optimism, his regional vision, and his commitment to justice for all, the Civic Leadership Institute is proud to present the 2018 Darden Award for Regional Leadership to Harvey L. Lindsay, Jr.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being here tonight. It means a great deal to me, and it shows to me how many wonderful people we have in this city, and you all care, and you all make a difference, and I thank you very much for that. Debbie, thanks so much for the introduction. Debbie's a great man, as you know, and he's done so much in his career and in his time that I could spend a lot of time talking about him, as well as Frank Batten, our other good friend that he mentioned, but I was just lucky to have them as friends. There are two people here tonight she was truly a great lady, and she, you know, she would always come home and say, Harvey, don't get involved in another thing, please. And I would say, well, Francis, you know, these people need help, and I want to try to do it. She said, just get somebody else. She said, just don't do it. And I said, well, I just got to do it this time. But she would support me every time. Anytime I got involved, she would help me. She'd help me financially if needed, or she would help with ideas, and she was just that kind of person. And she was a great lady. And the other is Josh Darden. There's just not enough words, and I don't have enough time to talk about Josh. He was a great leader, a great person. He had a wonderful heart. He cared for people. And the only thing that scared me was when he called me on the phone and left a message and said, give me a call back. And I knew I was in trouble there. And I'd say, Josh, I can't do that. I just got too much to do. He said, well, you got to do it this time. He said, I'm going to bring somebody over to talk to you. Well, I knew that was trouble. I knew that was trouble, but we did. And he would come over and we'd talk about projects that he wanted to do, and it was just great. And he was a wonderful man, and we miss him tremendously, I know, here in our city and in the Hampton Roads region. But he was truly a great person. I am very, very happy about the Civic Leadership Institute and what they're doing, and the efforts they're making to help in the community. I really believe that the only way we can get things done here is for personal involvement in things. I remember well back in the late 50s when we were having the trouble about the schools, and I was involved in a committee there that got involved in that, and I knew then how important it was to become involved and try to help out and try to make things happen. I'd like to also tonight congratulate Ferguson Enterprises for their award. They're a neighbor of ours over at City Center and Newport News. It's a great company, and we congratulate them. Excuse me just a minute, I've got eye problems, so I need to get my glasses here. I want to read to you a quote from Josh Darden that has stayed with me for a long time, and I think we could all listen to and take a lot from. Josh said, it's time for the next generation to step up and take the reins and there's really nothing like Civic to prepare them for that opportunity with world-class speakers, candid conversation about the issues, and class members and command the assets and resources to bring to bear the challenges that face Civic in making this a great community to live in. This was Josh's thinking and what he wanted to do, and he was just that kind of a person. But I wanted to just thank Civic for everything they do, the Civic Leadership Institute, and all that you do for the community. And I will be happy and will and very, very anxious to help in any way I can. But you've got great people working, all of the volunteers, and for this we're very appreciative. I want to thank all of you all for coming tonight. It means a great deal to me, to my family that's here, and I just appreciate you taking the time to be here, and I know that it means you support Civic and what they try to do. But again, many, many thanks to all of you, and let's keep working hard, and we'll continue to make this a great city and a great region to live and work. Thank you very much.
On behalf of the Board of Directors, I would like to once again congratulate Ferguson and Harvey Lindsay on these well-deserved awards. But on a more personal note, I would like to take a minute to thank Harvey for his immeasurable impact on my life. As many of you know, I've had the opportunity to work with Harvey for 34 years now. And every day I walk in that office is like a master class in leadership. Harvey's life has always exemplified honesty, integrity, and an unmatched compassion for others. There is simply no way to adequately gauge what happens when an extraordinary leader chooses to become involved in community issues. It changes them as a person. It changes the community. It changes their company. And it forever changes every person who comes in contact with that leader, including the person standing before you today. As Debbie said, the greatest tribute that we can pay to Harvey is to follow his example of community service. Hampton Roads does not need another Harvey. Hampton Roads needs an entire team of Harveys. So for those of you who want to be involved but say, I've never been asked, on behalf of Harvey and this entire civic leadership organization, consider this your invitation. Harvey, I can only say thank you. In just a few minutes, we'll adjourn to the rotunda for coffee, conversation, and dessert. But before we do, please join me in thanking our Darden co-chairs, Mita Vale and Ken Kemper.
It's been a real privilege to be involved as the chair of this event for the past 2 years, and I'm delighted to announce tonight that David Benjack, Civic Class of 2004, will chair next year's event with Mita Vale. We
also hope that you'll write a note to Harvey Lindsay, and we have note cards available for you at the table in the rotunda. It's our tradition to present those notes to our honorees to enjoy long after this special night.
Josh Darden lived long enough to see CIVIC take root. He was proud of what we've accomplished together. And if CIVIC's vision inspires you to get involved or support our work, you'll find information cards at your table that will help us connect with you.
Please join us for coffee and dessert in the Rotunda, and thanks so much to our sponsors and to you for being with us.